Good morning, Knicks Nation. Today is Tuesday, June 23rd, 2026. It's draft night. I hope everybody's safe and healthy. Hope your family is safe and healthy, and that the needs of you and your family, in terms of food, shelter, clothing, as well as health, are being met today. Blessings upon those that work in the area of health, along with first responders, doing the best that they can to save lives. Those also that pick up garbage, keep our places clean, and those that make deliveries for our convenience. Double blessings on the men and women trying to help rescue, deliver, and recover teenagers and children, victims of child molestation and pedophilia, the ones helping rescue the people that are victims of prostitution, victims of child prostitution, victims of pornography, and victims of child pornography, victims of human trafficking, sex slavery. Double curses on the perpetrators, profiteers, and perverts that create demands that cause these evil and heinous industries to exist. Finally, double blessings on the homeless. More than 700,000 men, women, children, families, senior citizens, and military veterans homeless in the United States of America. Blessings upon them, for theirs is the kingdom. Big doings yesterday all over the NBA. The biggest, of course, is Giannis Antetokounmpo, as Shams had reported, ended up in Miami. It was between Boston and Miami. Miami gave them the most. Now, right now, Miami sent out too much. And this is the problem that I've always talked about, where all of these dumbheads be asking for all these big names, not understanding how much it's going to cost to get them. So Miami yesterday sends out Tyler Hero, Jaime Jaquez, Khalil Ware, and Kasparis Jaconis to Milwaukee, along with 3 unprotected first-round picks, including a lottery pick this year. They have a pick swap and a second rounder. That's too much, in my view. Pat Riley obviously has a record of doing this before, but when he did it before, he did it with Shaquille O'Neal and a very young Dwayne Wade. He had a younger Udonis Haslem, and he had a team. They went and won the chip. Then he went and got Wade, Bosh, and LeBron in their prime, and they won 2 chips. Okay. In the meantime, he had gotten Alonzo Mourning. He had gotten Jimmy Butler. Those didn't work out as far as championships, but he keeps going at this. This is a Pat Riley move. The problem he has is twofold. Number one, the league has changed. The big 3 is played out. Teams are deeper now, and you really do need the depth to compete, as we have learned from in New York. You do need the depth to compete. Miami doesn't have that. Number 2 is, aside from that, if any of these guys get hurt, you got nothing behind them. So if Giannis loses time, if Adebayo loses time, if Wiggins, who has done it in the past, loses time, you got a problem, because you need all of them to compete. And let me just add a third thing, which is most important for us. They can't compete with the Knicks. They cannot. This is not a lottery team. Any team with Giannis is not a lottery team. They're going to compete now, but they ain't beating it. They're not going to be able to compete with teams like the Knicks or even Cleveland or Detroit. Any of our East teams can deal with this team, okay? So Riley is swinging for the fences, as he does. Riley takes risks like that. He has won 3 chips in Miami doing that. He won 5 in Los Angeles, or 4 in Los Angeles, and the 5th one was, I think, Westhead. But he has won a lot of championships doing that. But I don't think this ain't gonna work. So that was the Miami move. Everybody was looking because Giannis was gonna be moving on, and now all of a sudden you got a situation where they got Giannis. Okay, big deal. Okay, so I am not concerned with Miami at all. This is, to me, you losing Hero, Jaime Jaquez, those are real. So what Milwaukee just got, they got 3 solid rotation pieces. And I mean solid, because Jaquez is good, man. Jaquez, Hero is from Milwaukee. And then you add Khalil Ware, who's an up-and-coming. He has enough training in the Miami system to continue to develop to be a really good center. He's going to be all that. So, and Ware can shoot the 3. He's going to be better at it as his career goes on. They gave Milwaukee what Milwaukee would need: a really strong head start, young assets, plus draft capital. So They really hooked Milwaukee up. Milwaukee was smart. They held out for the best deal they could get. And this was a really good deal. And so that's that. Boston's got some internal issues now. Now, they won a chip with Brown and Tatum, but of course, they had Al Horford on that team. They had Jrue Holiday on that team, who had just won a chip in Milwaukee with Giannis. They got Derek White on that. They have some talent on that team. And last year, they came up short. They was running through the season because Jaylen Brown was out to prove he was all that. And he did, even though he didn't win the P. I thought he should have be really in the contention for that. But now Brown is going to be upset because this is really the third time that I remember that they've offered Jaylen Brown. They offered Jaylen Brown to the Knicks one time for Kristaps Porzingis. When Kristaps Porzingis blew off his season-ending interview with Phil Jackson made him available, and the Celtics offered him multiple picks and Jaylen Brown for Kristaps Porzingis. Okay, but Dolan wouldn't sign off on it, so that didn't happen. Then later, when Durant was available, Boston was fool enough to try to get that fool's gold and was going to offer Jaylen Brown for Durant. That didn't work out. And this time now, they're offering Jaylen Brown for Giannis, which that's an insult. That's an insult because Brown is former finals MVP. He really was in the running for MVP this year. He was that good. His game has elevated even far what I thought it could do. Strong, good, become a decent shooter, obviously tough inside the paint, defender, all that. So Boston's going to have some internal strife. I'm really thinking that the team that's really going to make a play for Jaylen Brown is Minnesota. And why do I think that? Well, our boy Juju just got shipped off to the Nets. Now, that's not surprising. A lot of people on X is tripping, which is why I don't like X. It's one of the things I don't like about following pro sports in general. There's a lot of very immature, stupid people that get involved and say stupid things and really kick people when they're down. When Julius got traded to Minnesota, the reason I talked about it happening a year before it happened was because I knew of the owner of Minnesota being a cheap guy. He's unlike a guy like Dolan. He don't like to write big checks. And I knew Cat was due for some big checks, and they were going to be due to pay some big taxes, having not even won the conference final. So they were going to set up around Ant. And it was said even at that time, many people don't remember this, but they were saying at some future point they're going to move Julius Randle because of his salary. Well, they just did. So they just reduced their salary by 30, because they sent out Juju with draft capital, and the Nets took him in their space. So now they go from, this is their situation. They go from tax space in the first apron space of 16 million to first apron space of 49, 50 million. They go from second apron space of 29 million to second apron space of like 60 something million. They got money now. Okay, they just locked up Sumo, 5 years, 112 million. That's 22 million a year. Okay, they got him. They're gonna have still Ant coming back. They got a Joan Behringer, a young center. They had him last year. Terrence Shannon played very well for them last year. Naz Reid. What I'm saying is they have now in a position to field a very competitive team. I'm not saying it's going to be a championship team, but it's very competitive. If you add a Jaylen Brown to that, you got something. Okay, you got something. Because now you have Ant, Gobert. Instead of Randall, you get Jaylen Brown, Jaden McDaniels. You still got Naz Reid coming off the bench. And don't forget, Dante still, he might take this year off because of the Achilles, but he's going to come back. You got him, Terrence Brown, and now you got the Sumo. I wouldn't be surprised if they made a run for Jaylen Brown. They would be in prime position to do that. And if they did, he would be a perfect addition so that they can compete with Denver, Oklahoma City, and San Antonio. That's their competition. If they just moved Randall, and now if they bring in a Brown now it's going to be big money. But if I'm that owner and I could bring in a guy that's in the top of his prime right now, that's a good bet. You can really, now Brown's eligible for an extension. I wouldn't extend him, but I would trade for him and see if I can get 2 years out of him and see if we could push for something in the West. Plus, from what I've been listening to, there's going to be a realignment with the two new teams entering the NBA, Las Vegas and Seattle. And they're going to move, both of those teams will be West. They're going to move a Western team to the East. It's going to be Minnesota. Because Minnesota is the closest team to the East in terms of geographic. So from Minneapolis, and I go to Minneapolis a lot because my son and my grandkids are there, but from Minneapolis, you could fly to Dallas one way without, changing planes. You could fly to Cleveland, Detroit, Boston, all them Eastern Conference teams. Whereas for Minneapolis, even from where they at, to fly to Oklahoma City, to fly to Phoenix, to fly to San Antonio, it's like a long road trip. So I think they're going to move Minnesota to the East. Now you take Jaylen Brown and you add him to this team and you put him in the East. Now I'm not saying the East is weak because we got the champs here, but they're going to be competitive in the East. They're going to be they're going to be better than Miami, put it that way. Okay? So I can see that coming. I can see Brown going to what's now in Minnesota, a Western Conference team, getting him out the Eastern Conference. I don't know what Boston's going to do. Yeah, they got Tatum. Yeah, they got White. But they ain't got enough now to compete for a chip. So they might just be breaking. They already, to me, when they let Jrue Holiday go to Portland, they was already saying, we're going to throw in the towel for a bit and restructure here. Because Jrue Holiday's a championship piece, as he has shown in 2 different teams. So they're going to probably break this down. So Boston might take a step back. That helps the Knicks repeat. Speaking of the Knicks, interesting move yesterday. Interesting move. So they get Muhammad Diawara locked up for 4 years. Okay? The boy's 21. They got him locked up for 4 years. So now you got him. Guarantee you one thing, he's going to be in the rotation. So now what are you talking about? You're talking about a 10-man rotation in New York, okay? So now you got to deal with Alvarado. Now, I read in the news yesterday, Alvarado would have extended on June 22nd, yesterday. But he's waiting until June 26th. Now, why would they do that? Well, for number one, they wanted to make sure they lock up and they show as a priority Mo Diawara, because he was going to be in demand. 6'9", 7-foot wingspan, could shoot, guard 5 people on the floor. Okay, we locked him up. But now, the Knicks, let's think about this now. If you're looking at the Knicks, okay, as presently constituted, okay, what won us the chip in the playoffs this past season? It was the starting 5. Then you had Jose Alvarado, Deuce McBride, right? They played roles. And then you had, aside from them, Landry Shamet, Jordan Clarkson, Ariel Hoop-Porty, and of course, Mitchell Robinson. So, what are you going to do now? The deal you just made with Diawara, okay, doesn't put you over the second apron. You're still into the second apron. If you trade Daddy and Kolek, now let me hear, a lot of y'all get all in your feelings when I talk about these 2 guys. Some of you go, we trading the future. Well, the future is now. Some of y'all still ain't caught that memo. We just won a championship and we want another one. We want another chip while we got Cat for 2 more years. The future is now. You could always regroup later. When you're talking about Daddy, he is definitely future. You can trade him and Kolek, and what happens now, you're saving about a little over $5 million in your space. That $5 million is $30 million in taxes. Okay? So now, if you move them tonight, and I'm telling you it would happen tonight. We're going to see a lot tonight. Because I already been telling y'all, they ain't going to draft nobody at 24. I already knew that. They're going to save that money. 24 and 31, forget it. The Knicks trading that pick. But what can they get for it in terms of space? Again, you can get $5 million right here in salary, which is really $30 million in tax money. So now you reduced your tax bill by $30 million. Okay? So now you going from, so the Knicks, according to Spot Rat, they were $16.5 million under the second apron. So now you just signed Diawara, right? So now let's say you $13.5 million, something in that range under the second apron. But then if you trade away $5 million, right? So now you go from 13, you go back to $18 million under the second apron. Now you get Shamet back. You get Alvarado back. So I don't know what they're going to cost, but I'm hoping that between the two of them, the first year salary will be something like 12. Okay, so now you get back 18, you use 12, you got 6. Now, if you could start Mitch Rob around 12, I don't know what it's going to be, a 3-year deal, maybe 4 years, and if they can get him around 60, 45 to 60, something like that, if you can get that first year around 12, right? So now you're $6 million over the second apron. Okay, so you're paying for a championship team. You're paying 222 million. Well, really, it's 205 million plus 30 million in taxes. You paying maybe 240 million. That's dirt cheap. Look back at Golden State when they won the chip. How much they had to pay in taxes. Okay, you be paying at least 400 million altogether to keep a championship team together. If you can do this right here, you can present that to Dolan. Listen, we're going to pay a little bit of taxes, but we're going to pay way less. And then, let's say they don't win the chip next year. I'm going to tell you what, there are going to be some trades before the draft next year. Why? Because before they go to July 1st, they're going to reduce the tax bill, just like Minnesota just did. They're going to reduce the tax bill. But coming back with the same band, except you got Mitch Rob, Deuce, Shamet. You're going to bring back Clarkson on a minimum deal. You got him. You're going to bring back Party on a minimum deal. You got to have a minimum. You got to have 15 players under contract, okay? You can bring back 3 or 4 guys, Party and Clarkson especially, on minimum deals. You get them back, then you get Shamet, you pay him, you pay Alvarado, you pay him. And this is the thing with respect to Alvarado. Now, him and Kolek are 2 different players. Their strengths and weaknesses are 2 different ways, right? But in terms of their effect, listen carefully, some of y'all don't. In terms of their effect on winning, there's no difference. Okay? Both of them help you win. Both of them. Kolek has developed into the type of player that can help you win. He's going to be 25. He's 25, going to be 26 in March of next year. You could use him. But right now, you got Alvarado, who was instrumental in the championship series. He's 28 in his prime. So if you can keep him and you can lose the salary of Kolek and Daddier, you just set yourself up to be okay, you're going to be a taxpayer, but you're going to be a low taxpayer. Like 30 million is low for a championship team, very low. So if they can get away with that, bring back Mitchell Robinson. Now you're going to have Mitch Rob, Shamet, Deuce, Diawara, okay, Alvarado, and Clarkson. And that's your team. You're going back to the battle with the same team you just dominated the playoffs with. And I mean dominated. The Knicks, after they lost to Atlanta in the playoffs, I don't think they might have lost 1 game after that in the playoffs. They went 4-0, 4-0, 4-1. Okay? And they were down 2-1 to Atlanta. Ended up beating them 4-2, which means they won 3 straight, then 4-0, then 4-0, then 4-1. They were dominant. And they bringing back the same band. See, right now, because Boston has been weakened, Miami think they stronger, but I don't think so. And then you got Detroit. Detroit's your main competition. Cleveland's always going to be like that really good regular season team that ain't got the fortitude to go through. They've already proven it, okay? But Detroit's going to be your main competition, and Indiana. Don't sleep on Indiana, especially when Halliburton come back. They're going to have their full contingent back. They're used to playing together. They were looking for a 5. They got Zubac, okay? Zubac ain't no all-star, but he is plenty good enough for a team like that to compete. So you're going to be really dealing with Indiana and Detroit. We've already proven we can beat Detroit. They're going to be better, but so are we. Indiana, ooh, that's always fireworks. Knicks, Indiana, okay? And they beat us the last time, so it's going to be on, okay? It's going to be on. So those are the big competition. Boston going to have to retrench. Cleveland is Cleveland. Miami think they going somewhere. I don't think so. But you're going to be dealing with, and then, you know, they're going to be up-and-coming teams. Like the Leprechaun just signed for $200 million in Washington. Washington, they really started from bottom and are rebuilding. And of course, they got a top 5, top 2 pick this year. So they're going to get another talent. But see, this is the thing. It's very rare for a rookie to move a team forward in the league right away. You got to give a rookie time to get acclimated. They could make like Victor Wembanyama when he came in the league, right, as a rookie. He was really, you could tell he was going to make a big difference on San Antonio, but they were still a lottery team. Okay, he could make and he did. Here they was in the championship round this year, but it took 3 years, and he's an all-time talent. It's very difficult for a rookie to move a team forward unless that team was already a playoff team. It's very difficult. So Washington is going to be up and coming. They're going to be up and coming. Atlanta, up and coming. Okay, they really are setting themselves up and coming. But then I don't consider either of those real threats to the East for the Knicks. They're going to push us, but that's good for us, right? The real threats are coming from Detroit and Indiana. All things being equal, everybody being healthy. Indiana has suffered from injuries like the major one to Halliburton. That really sets them back because they are built to roll with Halliburton as the straw that stirs the pot. Okay, so without him, they really was hurt. But assuming everybody's healthy, they get everybody back. Obi's back, Halliburton back. They same team, is back. Neesmith is there. They're gonna really be good. Okay, because Carlisle know how to coach, man. They're gonna really be good. And so you get Indiana and Detroit. That's gonna be our competition going into the next year. For us, though, this is gonna be a big year. It's gonna be a big year because we're not gonna use a lottery pick. But let me tell you something. Muhammad Diawara is like a lottery pick. We got him at the 51st pick last year. We just signed this guy. If he was like, say, top 5, he would be guaranteed like $10 million a year. We ain't got to pay him that. We paying him like, I want to say $11 million over 4 years. A little under $3 million a year. That's a steal. That's a steal. That's like a Deuce McBride type steal. So now you got him. He's going to play a bigger role this year. He already last year. Diawara started some games last year. Okay? He going to do it again. But he's going to be better this time. Diawara's on the come up. So we got him. We still going to have we're going to have our whole band back. Only thing we might lose is Daddy and Kolick. Kolick will hurt. Daddy will hurt some of y'all because y'all looking to the future as if we ain't going to win in the future. Listen, you're going to have to go through a rebuild. You're going to have to do that. But right now ain't rebuild time. Right now, we built time. It's not rebuild. We built. We ready to go. Okay? Some of y'all ain't catching that memo. It's still long-term sustainable winning, but we in the top of the heap right now. And we trying to get the second chip. And man, you talk about bringing back Mitch Rob from the beginning of the season coming off the bench. Him, Diawara, Deuce, and Shamet. What the hell? You're going to have some dynamic bench, defensively and offensively for this team. Then, of course, you're talking about Shamet, too. You're really talking about 11 deep. Mitch, Deuce, Shamet, Clarkson, Alvarado, Diawara. That's 6. You talking about going 11 deep. And this is the thing. Not everybody going to get rotation minutes. Don't work like that. But look, you start off Diawara 6 to 8 minutes a game. Every game. That's not rotation, but he's going to get better. Okay? Clarkson going to do exactly what he did this year. Some years, some games he won't play. Some games he might start. It depends on who's hurt. It's a long season. Shamet is going to be Shamet. And then, God forbid, if Shamet hurts his shoulder again, Alvarado steps right in. No problem. Alvarado, Deuce, they step right in. No problem. The Knicks are deep. We were deep this past year. We're going to be just as deep coming forward. So, for now, tonight's going to be interesting. Because they're going to definitely, I'm 100% sure, the Knicks are going to trade the 24, pick 24 and pick 31. They're getting traded. Don't get disappointed. Don't be thinking they're drafting somebody. They trading them picks. Okay? The question is what they trading them for. Are they trading for just future picks? Are they attaching players? I think the Don's going to attach players. And the reason I think that is because his whole tenure, the Don has managed, him and Brock Aller have managed the salaries of the Knicks down to the dollar. They really have. When they got 100,000, they create 100,000, they use it. So they're going to do this. They want to bring to Dolan as good a picture. You just won a championship. Yes, you're gonna go over the second apron, but you're only going over by 6-7 million. So you're only gonna have to pay like 20 million, 18 million in tax. Believe me, you're getting off early. You're getting off good here. So then you're gonna squeeze Mitch Rob into that deal as much as possible in his first year and keep that tax low. And let's not forget, Cat was quoted just last week. He was talking to the football player there. I forgot it. Shannon Sharp. He was talking to Shannon Sharp and said he would drop 100 million if everybody got in the room and discussed it. So, like, in other words, if everybody agreed to take cuts, he would drop 100 million off his extension. That is huge for next season. So, and also for tax implications. See, you bring all that to Dolan. Cat's willing to take $100 million cut. Everybody's willing to contribute. We can get it back. You're going to pay a little bit of taxes, but you're not going to be that bad. Dolan will go for that. He will. You got to be stupid not to go for that. You got a chip already. You can get another one. Okay? So I'm hyped about tonight. I want to see what the Don does. I'm always hyped in draft, not for the same reason. Most of y'all be thinking he drafting somebody and be listening to all these idiots. We don't need nobody. I've been telling y'all for years, we don't need nobody. What we do need is the same team back. We just want a chip. What we do need is to save some money. Period. And how you do that? You trade these picks. Can you attach a Dadier and Kolick? Yes. And you can attach them with a pick and you can trim off $30 million off your tax bill. That's $30 million right there off your tax bill. Okay? So let's see what happens. So overall, tonight's going to be important. Important night. What they start Alvarado at in his first year of he's going to get a new deal. The question is, how much is it going to be the first year? That's going to be important. And that's going to happen Friday. Okay? They're going to announce that between tonight and Friday. Then there's Shamit, and then last, probably right before July 1st, it probably be July 30th, they're going to have Mitch Rob come in. Everybody going to be locked down before free agency. The Don plays chess. Everybody else is still thinking checkers. You all enjoy the draft tonight. We'll talk soon. Sure.